to dig deep. We're going to pull out all the energy we got.
Yeah, I think it's going to be no problem.
It never is when we're together.
Well,
Hello,
and I have real
friend.
big feelings around this Mother's Day stuff.
Did you too? Was that kind of Mother's Day for you? I mean,
Yeah,
just
for
like the
real.
processing of it.
Yeah, it was
I think,
interesting. Okay, so I'm
yeah.
looking for you. So and so that
It'll.
I can there we are. Okay.
I was gonna say it always takes a little bit before you can. It
Yeah,
shows up.
yeah. As people come on, I hope they're saying hello to us.
Yes,
And it's a
Stephanie's
beautiful day.
here. Steph, I'm glad you're here with us. You've been quiet lately, friend. I'm so glad you're here. How's your peanut doing? As our friends are coming in, we would love if you let us know that you're here. You can put it in the chat. You can say hello. Let us know how you're checking in with us today. Yeah, it was a beautiful day. Oh, yay, Stephanie. I'm so glad you've been great. It's funny because I call you my Stephanie because Crystal has a Stephanie. So
I
you're
do.
my Stephanie. But I do share. I'll share.
I've learned how to share. I've grown up in my years.
Yes, you
I
have.
have. I'm doing a lot better with that sharing of friendships. I didn't really have much of a choice because you all just kind of blended together, but I'm doing better.
Isn't it funny though? I mean, when you think about, I always think about this when we tell kids to share, like they get a new toy and we're like, you have to share.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how, that's like getting a new car and saying, your friend says, oh, I really like that. And you have to share. Like, that's weird what we set our kids up, how we do that with our kids. I don't know. I haven't mastered that. That's not my work, but I don't know that it's fair
Yeah,
always.
it's interesting because there must be a very special way in how to that I don't have, by the way, in how to inspire them to want to share and want to give, like as opposed to you have to share.
Right. And there's got to
Because
be some like learning, like something like with their brain and how they comprehend to be able to grow up and know that just because you get something new doesn't mean you have to share it.
yeah,
Like there's boundaries.
it
Like,
definitely just happens natural, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. That was weird. I just thought about that when we talk about sharing friends.
What I love
So,
about these
Stephanie,
moments.
that sounds right. Stephanie, that sounds beautiful. It is so, I bet it's going to be a beautiful sunset for sure. For sure. And you don't have to worry about noise because we can't hear the planes taking
Although
off.
I wouldn't mind, like I I wouldn't mind some noise.
I know. Well, for those of you that are new to Beyond the Classroom, my name is Sherra Grasser. I'm a youth empowerment coach and the founder and director of Me Powerment program. I'm a mom to two young adults, Tyler, who's 25, Emmy, who's 22. And I have this amazing opportunity every Monday at 6 to sit with my sister of the heart, Crystal, and really just share in really unscripted conversations. She doesn't always know. Hi, Laura. I'm glad you're here. None of us really know till we get on like 10 minutes before what we're really going to talk about, unless we have a
Yeah.
guest. But even that's
Yes.
not really scripted. It's more about being in the energy and the conversation
Yeah.
with where we are right now in our worlds. Over to you.
So true. And I'm equally as blessed and lucky to sit with you, my friend, Coach Sherra. Coach Sherra. Um, yeah, I absolutely love this time with you, this organic time to just talk to all of our friends and our community. What would be really cool is, and it's really not possible without being a hot mess, but that we could all be on live together. But yeah, can you just imagine? Zoom has given us all these gifts, and it also showed what doesn't work. Um,
Right.
but I feel so blessed to be here tonight. And I, speaking of guests, would like to just recap a little bit about with faith, like how are the friends that are here now, that are
Oh,
watching now, what some people's takeaway were, or what they would like to see more of, or have question if they have questions of her. I mean, that was really a gift for all of us to sit with her. And um,
yeah.
I know you had some pretty big takeaways, Sherra. What are your thoughts around it?
Oh, oh, I just got goosebumps all over my body.
Yeah,
Well, there was so much wisdom. In fact, I was going to look to see if I had my notes right here. In
I
what
know.
she
See, I didn't even
shared.
prepare you for that.
No, that's okay because they're right here.
Yeah.
I just cleaned my desk. That's the only reason I know where they are. And I was going to put out an email, but there were three really big things that stood out. The biggest and most wise statement I think I have ever heard, and then to come from a 17-year-old: when you can't help yourself anymore, help someone else.
Well, and yeah, you're right. To come from a 17-year-old and
But
the power of that, but if I recall, that came from a 7-year-old.
it did. I was going to say, but that started 10 years prior, right? Like she
Yeah.
had that wisdom and I know the love of her family and all of that, but to be able to recognize and know that when you can't help yourself anymore, that there is such good that comes from helping others. And so
Yeah.
it's like she couldn't heal herself anymore, so she was going to put it outward. Everything she would want for herself, she was going to put outward, and that has helped her.
Right.
um the quote that she ended us with, I don't have it written down, she sent it to me. That was amazing, by Claire Wineland. And then the conversation, and I don't know if it came up with something you had experienced it with the boy that was making her unhappy, but to call it what it is.
Yeah.
Like, don't, excuse my language, pussyfoot around it. Like, that's unkind. That's mean. Like, just state it. Call it
Yeah.
what it is, and then move into the conversation. Or sometimes calling it what it is shuts it down. There's no
Yeah.
need for a further conversation. Those were the three things that I had written down that really moved me.
Yeah. Yeah. And all three of those things were really my same. It was just that she has such a strong voice. She is young, but yet so old. She's so wise. And the fact that she really does, uh, not only does she give to her community at any opportunity that she finds, it's not an opportunity given. She actually looks for opportunities, which
Yeah.
it's easy to not, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I I don't I can say that I don't look for stuff every day to give back. And so
Yeah.
my biggest takeaway is to really actually open my eyes more to where I can give back. And
Right.
because that just is so beautiful how she does that. And
Yeah.
she brings her community with her.
Oh my
The
gosh.
whole
Right.
all of her friends in that group, they're all gifts to our
Yeah.
community. They're all doing stuff. And what
Yeah.
a great feeling to sit in, to know that so many of our teenagers in my actual physical community, but in our community that we have here, are doing so much for others. What a beautiful feeling. And it can
I
be.
know. And I know, and Faith is so amazing, humble, right? Like,
Yeah.
amazingly humble. And we're in awe of everything she's doing, and it's just a natural part of her being, right? It's her heart, it's her mode of operation. And so and she's so humble. But I think what I loved about all that sharing was, I wish we were talking more. Wish people talked openly more about what they're doing, the good
Yeah.
in the world. And because it's not bragging. Like, this is how we shine our light.
Right.
And when you shine, you give permission to others to shine. And I mean, so it was for me, that was another takeaway, is to really remind even the kids I'm working with, like asking them what they're doing and asking them to share more. What are your most proud moments? Like, most of the kids I work with are like, what? And I'm like, you don't get asked that, do you? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I want to know. Like,
Yeah.
what are you most proud of? And they're like, they don't know how to talk about themselves because it shows up as bragging. It shows up as ego. And I want to celebrate the good. Why are we always talking about what's not working? Like, so she was a real example of how the energy really vibes in those conversations, shining your light.
So true.
Yeah.
So first I want to say, if anybody that's listening to this that wasn't here last week that doesn't know what we're talking about, we went live with a 17-year-old in our community who has done really great things, and you can find her on, I don't even know what it's called, YouTube, the Eric's Little Heroes, Faith Murray. It's worth the watch just to hear her really empowering. She's just so encouraging. Yeah. So, if you're watching this today and you're wondering what to talk about, I think that all of your kids and even yourself could have a takeaway at minimum. Oh no, Sherra froze or I froze. I'm not sure.
Oh, is it me?
We're fine now. I don't know. Okay. One of the things I was thinking about when you were talking, Sherra, is, and I know this wasn't anywhere where we were planning on going, by the way, I just want to be upfront about that, but I was thinking about Laura, I hope she's still here. She said, "Here, ladies." And, one of the times that I remember specifically about Laura, where she was the happiest I've ever seen her. I mean, she like is such a fun mom, but is when we were at the racetrack, when we go to the races, and she would do what's it called? The snack shack. Yeah. And so I was just sitting here thinking, as you were talking about, giving back and talking about almost not bragging, but talking about what we're proud of, right? And Laura, you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, and I really hope I'm not, because that would be embarrassing. But Laura does have some invisible illness stuff. I believe she has some chronic pain, and yet giving back in the snack shack, she just shined and she just loved it, right? Yep, the snack shack lady.
Oh, and I love the tabs that came from there.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other thing. Like, I didn't love those tabs because my kids racked up those bills, and Laura just let it happen. And I'm sure there's lots that Laura just let them have. But anyways, my whole point is, like, if, not that Laura needed this, this was really about me just using her as an example. But if you think about when you are the happiest, what are the things you're doing? And that is a time that I truly saw Laura so happy and shining. Look at Shayna. Us kids love the snack shack lady. Yes. Yes, they did. Yeah. So I was right. Thank you, Laura, because I didn't want to be stating that wrong. Has fibromyalgia. And that is a horrible, painful thing, that, at least from what I've heard. I don't live it myself. But anyways, it just made me think of, if you can think of a time where you were the most happiest, what is it doing? And it usually is when you're giving back, I think.
It is. But I think that's really true. In fact, I think I might have even talked about this when I was facilitating with Edmonds Community College on Friday. We talked about, like, being present, and that, because we're future trippers. Like, we are so always thinking about what's next, what we have to do next, a week from now, a year from now, that we are tripping on the future. that we're so worried about what's coming, or it brings about worry and fear and concerns, and we have this huge story that we then would make up, and then we're living in that space that we forget to be right here, right now.
Yeah.
Which means we lose sight in the beauty and the blessings and the joy of this moment because we're so out here. And I always ask individuals, so tell me, what are those moments of bliss? Now, to me, bliss is where all time stands still. Like, what are you doing when time absolutely stands still? Like, you can stay way later than you should. Like, you are just in that moment. That is absolute where I find where I'm most passionate. I'm happiest. It's in those moments of bliss.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Yeah.
I think of your time stand still in moments of bliss, and only because I got to experience it, I think one time with you. I mean, it was a weekend, or a week. It was sitting on the beach with the coffee.
Yeah.
It was so
that
beautiful.
is really, yeah, that really is one of our biggest. That's why I love to escape on the weekends and get over there, because it's really, I'm not bound by time. I'm just bound by whatever fills my heart. And
yeah,
time stands still there for sure. Yeah.
so cool. So, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, because we did have an intention to talk about like what we did this weekend. And we did something really fun together, but separate.
Yep.
And we went to, would you call it a conference?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we went to a conference with our Dr. Jody Carrington, and all of her friends. Yeah. And we've shared them before, or her at least. And, if I had one takeaway to give to our community, it's to find something that really fills your cup to keep you going.
Yeah.
And before we found Jody to listen to, and I know this isn't for everyone, like not everyone would take time to just sit and listen to somebody else babble on like us today, right? But I have found such great peace and relaxation in listening to Dr. Jody. And she's not like a beach piece. I don't mean that by any means. She's a firecracker. But so she puts on this conference, and it was Braver Together. Is that right?
Together Braver.
Together Braver. And you sat at your house, I sat at mine. And I absolutely feel like I have I guess you would call it a conference hangover. Like there's so much, I feel like I have to watch it again. And
yeah.
What are your feels about what we did? What did you get me going about it?
Well, if I were now, this is totally could be this may not be exact, but the whole premise of this conference was to bring together that feminine energy. It wasn't about Mother's Day particular. Right. It was about mothering and how that looks and how that shows up. And she had these amazing speakers, these real, live, true, raw women sharing their story, whether it was about entrepreneurship, their personal stories, and how that's led them to where they are today. I'm just trying to think what else, but it was a lot of really, really inspirational stories, but they also had the elements of heart and of reality. Yeah. And it didn't leave you going, yeah, but I don't have the ability or the financial or like, it was real raw stories. It was really true, relatable stories.
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit in that like conference hangover too, because there was so many different messages and that just really resonate, Crystal, with you and I and the work that we do together. And I think the biggest thing that I was really affirmed and I took away was I have all these notes here. The power in telling our story.
Oh, that's exactly you. I just darn you. That's
Yeah.
exactly where I was gonna go. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just had to because
No.
that's what I
Because
want
that's
everybody
what
to
we
hear.
listen to. That's what we
Yeah.
listen to. We listened to stories. And in their stories, there was always a piece we can connect with. That when we connect with somebody else's story, we feel like we belong.
Yes.
And so, though this was virtual, and though, well, one person I did stayed in really, I had a little cool chat with Savvy Simon through Instagram, which was super fun.
I know I was so
And
kind of jealous a little bit.
she's really amazing, and everybody should follow her. But um, you know, one of the takeaways too was that the cover never really tells the story. You know, this does not tell the story. My words can tell you my story. You know, it's that just know everybody is going through something. And it was, yeah, go ahead.
That is so powerful that what you see doesn't tell the story. And because if you think about it, everybody, and because that was totally my takeaway too, and what I wanted to share with everybody, if they, not if they have the opportunity, it is take the opportunity, make the opportunity to share your story.
Yeah.
And because when you share your story, there, what I saw this weekend was these people who shared their stories, you could almost see weight lifted when they shared, right? And there was some really big, heavy stuff that could be very harmful to somebody to carry all of their life. And first time told was this weekend. And they're all established grown adults with
Yeah.
families. And your story doesn't have to be hard. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Right.
I just mean how good it feels to be able to share a part of you. And when we sit in the, well, it's not that exciting, it's not a big deal. Um, think for a moment how much you could lift somebody else just by hearing your story while lifting up yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I love listening to people's stories.
Yeah.
Like, I know McGuire is not here watching, but her adoption story and how Amy might be here. Actually, Amy got for a gift, gave her oh gosh, ancestry DNA for Christmas. I wish I had thought of it. Like, how brave of her to do that. Kathy said to me that she didn't want to disrupt some other family, right? So I just took that to heart. I'm like, well, I'm not brave enough to push her. Well, Amy, she's very brave. She gave it to her. And there's such a beautiful story around it. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want her to tell her story. That's so uplifting to other people. And so, yes, what I'm trying to say is that my takeaway was the power of telling your story, and my job to encourage people to tell their story and share my story when I can. Like, everybody's story is valuable and important and deserves to be told, deserves to be heard. And yeah, it was so
Well,
great.
and I think what I'm like, okay, so like I'm thinking about like some of the story that's been even told in our lives here and like
Yeah.
shared openly. And when we share our stories, like we all have our own hard. Like there's
Yeah.
all levels of hard, but screw the levels. Like our heart is our hard. Your heart is your hard.
Yeah.
I think we all have hard, but when we do feel safe and vulnerable to share, like we find out we're not alone.
Right.
Like I have sat since we sat in this conversation with our followers here, and Laura was really engaged in the conversation around mental health that we've had and really engaged in that. Since then I've sat with two mamas and had conversations with them about their kiddos and mental health. I didn't have to fix. They just knew because of my story that I could hold their story.
Right.
And they didn't feel alone. And I always ask, like, what are you feeling? Like, I can't fix this, but like Are you feeling anything, as we're leaving and they're like, yeah, lighter. Like,
See, that's
I'm
exactly
not
what I
packing
mean.
this alone.
Yeah, that is exactly what I mean. Like literally,
Yeah.
I watched them. It was like you could see the shoulders
Yeah.
rise,
It's crazy.
like back up and standing prouder. Like I don't know.
Are we
There's something magical
frozen?
about it. Huh? I'm frozen?
I think
Uh-oh,
we
what?
both might have froze. You know what? After I've seen the big time people, like their like internet do weird crap, I'm just gonna let it go. Like, I cannot control the internet. Jeez.
So funny. So funny.
But yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
that weekend, that conference, and then you go, that was my treat to myself for my Mother's Day. Have the whole day to just sit and take it in, fill my cup, which my cup is full. Like it really is full. And then Sunday comes
Right?
and it's Mother's Day. And you know, this was a year that I was intentionally recognizing and acknowledging that Mother's Day is not easy.
No.
And it's not easy for a lot of people. And there's a lot of pressure on being a mom and having the title for Mom's Day, I think.
Yeah.
And where it was really good, every year my kids, they're amazing, and Guy tries so hard, and they're like, what do you want for Mother's Day? It's always like a clean house. Now, mind you, I never get it. Not trying to shame my amazing children. I know Shayna's watching, but that's been, you could ask her, it's no lie, every year, birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day, whatever. What do you want? I just want a clean house. I don't want anything, just a clean house. And but this year, and then there's a little bit of disappointment. Like, well, is that really what I wanted? You know what I mean? And so this year I said, I want time. I want time with them. I want to be with them. And okay, that was not a problem. I was going to get that. And then um and then Dad does the yard instead. LOL. Yes, that's a whole nother live. Um uh,
Shayna.
but so Sunday morning I woke up and I thought, I don't just want time. I want pho. I want my favorite coffee and my favorite pho. And I sent a message out to my kids saying, yes, I do want to go out. I do plan to go out. I'm doing that for me. Do you want to go with me? And I did that because I wasn't going to disappoint myself. I was going to do what I wanted. And by golly, they went and they showed up 100%. Katie doesn't even like pho. She didn't care for the coffee that I love so much, but she came, and it I just really had a good time. And then later in the evening, Shayna and Guy and I went out for Mexican food. Again, just time away from the house. And that was all great. But where it for me is like, I'm glad that I allowed myself to enjoy myself with my kids, but it's like my my biological mom died several years ago. The mom, well, I have to give credit to both moms. My biological mom really taught me how I didn't want to mom, or I didn't want to mother. And I say that very respectfully because she wasn't happy with how she was doing things, and she was open and honest about that. So it wasn't like she was just being not there and, not a good mom. She was really rawly upfront and honest about what she didn't want me to do, what she didn't think was great. And so I do want to give credit to that. And then I have, this beautiful mom that really took me in and treated me like mom, like a mom would, and taught me how to love unconditionally to people, my own and not my own, right? And she's gone. So that's hard. And but so many other wonderful people in my life have shown up as a mom, because when I think about it, my aunts, my friends' parents, even the males in my life, they come up with,
Yeah.
shine in ways to take care of. And because what I realized, I guess, what my takeaway from this weekend and all of my thought process around it is, being a mom is showing up with love and really giving of yourself. And that can be so many people in our lives. It
Oh,
doesn't mean you birth the child, right? Like, um, yeah. So that is my takeaway of Mom's Day.
yeah.
And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed every minute I had with my children and my husband, but I just wanted to take the the title away a little bit. I just wanted time.
Yeah. I love that. And I think Crystal, a lot of it, that was really beautiful. And thanks for sharing about your mom experiences. I think that's valuable. Your bio mom, it goes back to, I think she was doing the best she could with
Yeah,
what she knew.
right.
I mean, and I think all of us that are on here that are moms, even just as humans, like every day is going to look different. We're
Yeah,
all doing the best we can with what we know in this moment. And then throw in a pandemic and holy crap, like throw that element of, everything on there, stress, chaos, unknown, fear. Like, I mean, every day is going to look different for all of
yeah.
us. And my Mother's Day was very different than it has ever been in the past, and it was perfect. I mean it was perfect for yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll do things different next time, but I woke up in the morning. Both kids were gone, but Dean and his brother, or my brother-in-law Jim, they were like, let's go to breakfast, and they took me to breakfast. And then Dean asked what I wanted to do, and I said, I really just want to be home. Like, there's a little bit of, I get to be away a lot. I'm really blessed with the opportunity to go to the beach at the cabin and spend real intimate time with my family. We eat out way more than we should as a family. So those things I feel like I get Mother's Day more days than most. And so I really just wanted to be home with no expectations and not having to do anything but what I wanted to do. And strangely, I should have come to your house because you know what I did? I cleaned.
Oh, oh,
I
yeah.
cleaned.
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just did my own thing. I just did some dusting and we went out for a beautiful walk. I even made dinner like last night because I guess it's stepping into what I really value in myself as a mom and in the mothering, and it's taking care of others. And so I did mashed potatoes and turkey breast and gravy and green bean casserole, and we enjoyed a really amazing dinner together. And that is weird for Mother's Day, but it worked for me. But like you, a lot of my time was spent around really looking at mothering, like as a whole, as a verb, not about because she has a vagina and can birth the babies makes you a mother, but like what this word is. And that's part of what we were talked about in our conference, and just how valuable that word is. And that every single one of us, regardless of our sex or gender or any of that, we all have a feminine spirit.
Yeah.
And so there we are all capable of mothering on some level. And I agree. I think it's that kindness and it's that compassion, it's that nurturing. And as Dr. Jody shared with us, it's knowing when to step in, when to step up, when to step out, when to step down, and just that natural innate knowing and showing up. And so it had me reflecting on a lot of people that I could honestly say I've I mean, they've been that mothering person. And I think my mama is on here with us today. So,
Your
because
mama
she
is
told me
on
I
here.
wasn't frozen. Because, yeah, I've been very fortunate. I was born into to amazing mama who's been a huge role model and is one of mine and yours biggest cheerleaders. So, but you know,
Yeah.
not everybody is blessed with that experience. Their experience is their experience, and it looks different. And there is not difference, not bad.
Different is not bad. And
Different is not bad.
right. And I do want to give credit where credit's due. Like I spent a lot of time in my life, and maybe somebody else has some feels like this, where I was angry or I was upset. I didn't understand why my mom couldn't be like
Mm-hmm.
my friends' moms, or change, stop doing things that, weren't weren't good. And
Yeah.
I spent, oh, there's,
Sherra.
there's my boy.
Hi.
He was part of my soup yesterday.
Yes, he
Um,
Happy
was.
Mother's Day.
Thank you, sweet boy.
so yeah,
Will you
so
get my kitchen sink again?
what? Oh yeah. Um, so I do want to give credit where credit's due. Like I will just use drugs as an example. Like my mom had a problem with drugs, and it was never hidden from me. And a lot of people did not agree with that. And a lot of people, I remember hearing the shame around that my mom shouldn't share that with me and I shouldn't know that. And honestly, my protective heart might feel the same way about littles today. But what I will tell you is what my mom taught me all the time. And when she would share with me about it, was because I don't ever want you to do this. You are not allowed to do drugs. Like I remember specifically her teaching me how ugly and hard that part of her life was, so that I wouldn't. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it took,
You can only imagine, like really.
yeah, it's an awful thing really, but it was a gift
Yeah.
because um I just feel like that taught me how hard it was for her, and it really kind of it didn't happen though until I was, grown adult and she was dead. I mean, she had died, right? And I'm sorry about that I couldn't find this before and let her know. I'm confident that I feel like
Yeah.
she knows now, but I actually look at it like a gift now.
Yeah.
I truly look at it like a gift, because had she tried to hide it, there's parents that they bring their children into it
Yep.
because that's just what they know. And the sickest thing I've ever felt in my life is to know that to be true. But no way, she did not. And so yeah, I found an appreciation for her, and I can love her for that and be thankful. And and then, like I said, I do feel like I was gifted a mom to love me like a mom should. So I had both sides, and I'm very, very thankful for that.
Yeah.
I wish that I had seen the Eric Owen from you, Laura, before Eric left, because he would have loved that. He but anyways, yeah. So, and I have so many mamas like your mama. Like your mama has loved on me. Hardly never gets to see me, but she's so kind to me. And that's what it's all about, right? Just be kind. And I don't know if my story will help anybody else, but if there's anything to take away, it's try to find the good even in the bad.
Yep.
And I did. I have, and I am thankful for that.
Yep. And if you don't, and I think what it does, Crystal, is it gives hope. Because if you can't see it right now, if you're truly in the thick of it, it doesn't matter how old we are, we can still be in the thick of it, right?
Yeah,
just
so
when they
true.
were just a kid. But even if you're in the thick of it, no, I truly do. It gives us hope that we will someday see the gift in that.
Yeah.
That hard. It'll
Yeah,
be there. We just have to be open to that and know that it's a
exactly.
possibility. I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So yeah, Mom's Day.
Mom's Day.
And
Yeah,
then Dad's Day is gonna come
I know. It
and
is.
we
And we'll
will celebrate
celebrate
it too.
that masculine energy.
I got it. I
Me
got it.
too. So it's our day too, right? No, just kidding.
Yeah. I get to be mom and dad.
Yeah.
But I mean, Guy has been a great dad, but we still fill that role too.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
just we all really share on all sides of these
We
roles,
do.
right?
We do. Yeah. So do you think before we close, we should give a little update on what next week is going to look like?
On what's coming.
Yeah.
And you're right, there, Mama Mary, that
Yeah.
day will be hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yet still needs to be celebrated.
Yep.
Still needs to be honored. That's a better
Yeah.
way to say it, honored.
Yeah.
And but I think because of all my deep reflection on it all, I think I can see that now. I think I'm open to that. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I
yes,
agree.
let's share what's gonna
Okay.
happen.
So I'm going to hand it off to you after I'll introduce. So next Monday, we are bringing in a guest because we are kicking off our Young Entrepreneurs series, where on our lives, maybe even once a month on a Monday, we are going to bring in a kiddo who is stepping into an entrepreneurial role. And we are super blessed that Crystal's daughter, Shayna, who is on with us tonight, is going to be our guest next Monday. And she's going to share a little bit of her story, how this got started, what it is. Crystal, do you want to take it?
I think that I'm going to leave it for Shayna to
Okay.
explain, because what I think
I don't want to give
and what
away
she
too much.
yeah, and what I think and what she think could be two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited for her to share. See, look at her. She's so excited. So brave. Like, when did that happen? Yeah, and she's coming up with something a little special for us and our community.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay. I was hoping you were going to at least share that part.
yeah. I'm not going to say what it is because we don't really know what it's going to turn out like, but it is a special gift for us and our community. And I just ask that people come with an open heart to really hear her, how this happened. Because she started herself a little business and that wasn't in the plan. This is a COVID gift.
Yep. Pandemic
And
present.
yeah, so that's it.
Yay. All right, Shayna. So we are so ready for you. And I know you were texting us, and I almost got really distracted because I'm so excited what you were texting us. So I saw your mom go like this. I was like, oh, she just got that message too. So
I didn't notice that one,
oh,
actually.
you didn't? Oh, yeah. So we are really, really excited to have Shayna with us next week, have her share her story, and what brought her to where she is today, and then reveal what she is bringing to us and the community here. Yeah, it's exciting.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And if anybody else on here has a kidlet, Shayna's obviously a young adult. So when we say the kiddos, she's our kid. So
Yeah.
A pandemic present. That's
Yes,
perfect.
it is.
It is. It's a COVID gift. So if anybody else knows of a kid that we can honor, that we can share, we just please let us know.
Yeah.
That's really what we're here. Like, we like to talk and we love to talk to you guys, but that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
And So if you have any little entrepreneurs in your life that you could shine and share, I have another one in my head, but I don't want to say it in case they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is what it's about. Or if you have a kid that wants to talk about something specific, or you know, please open, share. Yeah, Laura's excited.
Yes.
Been one of Shayna's mamas in her life. She took very good care of her at that track and fed her lots of goodies.
I think I ate more than my share of goodies at that track myself.
Okay, I did too.
That's awesome. All right, my friends, have a great night. I'm so
Yes,
grateful,
bye.
grateful to spend Monday with you and have a blessed week ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherra.
Thank you, Crystal.